Hello and welcome to ECN. Biden's gaffe confuses Harris with Trump, yet vows to stay in presidential race. In a highly anticipated news conference, President Joe Biden delivered a forceful defense of his foreign and domestic policies, aiming to reassure Democratic lawmakers, allies, and voters of his capability to lead. Amidst growing scrutiny, Biden batted away questions about his ability to serve another 4 years, even as he stumbled with a reference to Donald Trump early on. This solo news conference marked a pivotal moment, following a challenging June 27th debate against Trump that raised concerns about Biden's performance. Biden has since insisted that the debate was an outlier, not a true measure of his capabilities at 81. Despite making notable errors, such as referring to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky as President Putin and calling Vice President Kamala Harris Vice President Trump, Biden presented detailed responses on preserving NATO and outlined his vision for a second term. Firmly stating his intention to stay in the race, Biden sought to demonstrate his vigor and command amidst calls from some Democratic lawmakers for him to step aside. Please subscribe to EuroConnectNews.com and our YouTube channel for full access to in-depth cover stories and readable articles. Trump's legal team leverages immunity to challenge explosive hush money verdict. In a dramatic turn of events, former President Donald Trump's lawyers are invoking a recent Supreme Court ruling on presidential immunity in a bid to overturn his conviction in the hush money case. In a court filing dated July 10th and made public on Thursday, Trump's defense team argued that Manhattan prosecutors improperly relied on evidence of Trump's official acts to secure his conviction. They assert that the May 30 guilty verdict, marking the first-ever criminal conviction of a U.S. president, should be set aside due to this structural error under the federal Constitution. The use of official acts evidence was a structural error. Defense lawyers Todd Blanche and Emil Bove wrote, "The jury's verdicts must be vacated." In this high-stakes case, Trump was found guilty of falsifying business records to cover up a $130,000 payment made by his former lawyer Michael Cohen to adult film star Stormy Daniels. Prosecutors allege the payment was intended to silence Daniels about an alleged sexual encounter with Trump, boosting his 2016 presidential campaign against Democrat Hillary Clinton. Please subscribe to and our YouTube channel, and to get full access to in-depth cover stories and readable articles, check our website, EuroConnectNews.com. In shocking data exposes the real story of crime in the U.S. Tonight, we delve into a crucial issue that resonates with many: crime in the United States. What does the data really say, and how is it shaping public opinion? A growing share of Americans now believe that reducing crime should be a top priority for the President and Congress to address this year. According to recent statistics, around 6 in 10 U.S. adults, or 58%, hold this view today. This is a significant increase from 47% at the beginning of Joe Biden's presidency in 2021. The FBI publishes annual data on crimes reported to law enforcement, but it's important to note that this data does not include unreported crimes. Historically, the FBI has focused on specific, violent and property crimes, omitting many other types of crime, such as drug offenses. Their statistics are compiled from thousands of federal, state, county, and city police departments, yet not all agencies participate every year. In 2022, the FBI received data from 83% of participating agencies. On the other hand, the Bureau of Justice Statistics, BJS, conducts a large annual survey of Americans aged 12 and older, asking if they have been victims of certain types of crime in the past 6 months. This method captures both reported and unreported crimes, offering a broader perspective. However, like the FBI, the BJS survey focuses primarily on a few violent and property crimes and cannot provide information on high-profile offenses like murder due to its reliance on after-the-fact interviews. Despite these limitations, comparing the FBI and BJS statistics gives researchers a valuable overview of U.S. violent and property crime rates and how they have evolved over time. Excitingly, the The FBI is transitioning to a new data collection system known as the National Incident-Based Reporting System. This system promises to deliver national information on a wider array of crimes, complete with details such as the time, place, and types of weapons involved. Full research and access to the complete story are available on EuroConnectNews.com. UN report warns of global crisis. Fertility rates plummet. Population decline, unprecedented. The United Nations reports that fertility rates around the world are dropping faster than expected, setting the stage for a global population decline before the end of the century. More than 60 countries and territories, including Italy, Japan, Russia, and China in 2021, have already reached their population peak. This means that 1 in 4 people worldwide now live in a country where the population has stopped growing. Tracking changes in population growth and fertility rates is crucial due to their significant social and economic implications. The number of people on Earth impacts consumption rates, energy use, industrial production, resource availability, and the pace of human-caused climate change. Currently, the global fertility rate stands at 2.25 births per woman, which is 1 child less per woman compared to 1990. The world population is projected to peak at nearly 10.3 billion people around 2084, before declining to 10.2 billion by 2100. This is a 6% reduction from earlier projections. The demographic landscape has evolved greatly in recent years, said Lee Junhua, Under-Secretary General for Economic and Social Affairs at the United Nations. The UN's previous assessment suggested that humanity could grow to 10.4 billion people by the late 2000s. But lower birth rates in major countries like China have accelerated the timeline for a population peak. Unmasking unemployment. Will the U.S. government address job market inequities? Unemployment rates have long shown significant disparities among different racial and ethnic groups in the United States. Historically, Black and Hispanic Americans have faced higher unemployment rates compared to their white counterparts. Structural factors, including systemic racism, limited access to quality education, and unequal treatment in the labor market, exacerbate these disparities. These factors also impact wages and lifetime earnings for racial and ethnic minorities. Education plays a crucial role in employment prospects. Individuals with higher education levels generally experience lower unemployment rates. In recent decades, the demand for skilled workers has increased, widening the gap between those with college degrees and those without. High school graduates and individuals with lower education levels face higher unemployment rates and often struggle to secure stable, well-paying jobs. The Biden administration's Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act aims to bridge this education employment gap through investments in educational programs, vocational training, and skill development initiatives. Unemployment patterns also vary significantly across different age groups. Young adults aged 16 to 24 tend to have higher unemployment rates, partly due to higher rates of participation in education. However, those aged 25 to 29 also experience higher unemployment rates, attributed to limited work experience, inadequate skills, and a competitive job market. Hey everyone, let us know which story you want us to cover by commenting below. Our experts will dive deep into the topic and bring it to you. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Breaking news: Homeland Security's controversial decision to extend temporary protected status for Yemen. In a significant development, Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro N. Mayorkas has announced the extension and redesignation of Yemen for temporary protected status, TPS, for 18 months from September 4th, 2024 to March 3rd, 2026. This decision comes in response to the dire conditions in Yemen, which make it unsafe for individuals to return. After consulting with interagency partners, Secretary Mayorkas determined that the ongoing armed conflict and extraordinary conditions in Yemen justify this extension and redesignation. He emphasized that these measures align with the national interest of the United States. Yemen has been in a state of protracted conflict for the past decade, severely limiting civilians' access to water, food, and medical care, pushing the country to the brink of economic collapse and preventing Yemeni nationals living abroad from safely returning home, said Secretary Mayorkas. The steps the Department of Homeland Security has taken today will allow certain Yemenis currently residing in the United States to remain and work here until conditions in their home country improve. This redesignation allows approximately 1,700 Yemeni nationals and individuals having no nationality who last habitually resided in Yemen, who have been continuously residing in the United States since July 2, 2024, to file initial applications for TPS if they meet the eligibility criteria. U.S. GDP growth surprise. Q1 2024 revised up to 1.4%, despite economic uncertainty. In economic news, the Bureau of Economic Analysis has released its third estimate, revealing that the real gross domestic product, GDP, grew at an annual rate of 1.4% in the first quarter of 2024. This follows a more robust 3.4% increase in the fourth quarter of 2023. This latest GDP estimate is based on more comprehensive data than the second estimate issued last month, which had pegged growth at 1.3%. The upward revision is primarily due to a downward revision in imports and increased non-residential fixed investment and government spending, partially offset by a downward revision in consumer spending. The growth in real GDP was driven by rises in consumer spending, residential and non-residential fixed investments, and state and local government spending, though it was tempered by a decrease in private inventory investment. Imports also saw an increase. Compared to the previous quarter, the deceleration in GDP growth was mainly due to slower consumer spending, exports, and state and local government spending, alongside a downturn in federal government spending. However, there was an acceleration in residential fixed investment and imports. In current dollar terms, GDP rose by 4.5%, or $312.2 billion, reaching $28.27 trillion in the first quarter. This represents an upward revision of $13.2 billion from the previous estimate. The price index for gross domestic purchases increased by 3.1%, with the personal consumption expenditures, PCE price index rising by 3.4%. Excluding food and energy, the PCE price index saw a 3.7% increase, all showing slight upward revisions from previous estimates. The minimum wage debate, historical context, and modern challenges rock the U.S. Let me give you the latest view on minimum wage, a critical issue affecting millions of American workers. The minimum wage is the lowest hourly rate that employers are legally required to pay their employees. In the United States, the federal minimum wage has remained at $7.25 per hour since 2010. When adjusted for inflation, this rate is approximately 40% lower than it was in 1970. To put this in a global context, the United States ranks 17th among the 38 OECD countries in terms of national minimum wage. While the federal rate has stagnated, many states have taken action. As of 2023, the District of Columbia boasts the highest minimum wage in the country at $16.50 per hour. Meanwhile, 13 states continue to adhere to the federal minimum wage. Georgia and Wyoming have the lowest state minimum wages at $5.15 per hour, with exceptions often made for small businesses. The concept of a federal minimum wage in the United States dates back to the late 19th century, a period marked by rapid industrialization and the rise of factories. As mass production grew, many Americans left farms and small towns to work in factories, leading to the formation of labor unions that lobbied for better working conditions. The Fair Labor Standards Act of 1938, part of President Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal, established national minimum wages and maximum work hours to combat worker exploitation and address the challenges of the Great Depression. What's your view on this topic? Share your thoughts with us. Homelessness crisis deepens. 12% rise in 2023 spurs bold action from Biden-Harris administration. The persistence of large numbers of homeless Americans stands as a glaring policy failure of the past 2 generations, highlighting a national crisis that demands immediate and sustained action. In 2023, the number of people experiencing homelessness in the United States rose by 12% from the previous year, totaling 653,104 individuals living without a home. This stark increase underscores the urgency of addressing this epidemic, not only to alleviate the suffering of the unhoused, but also to preserve America's social solidarity and collective civic virtue. The Biden-Harris administration has taken unprecedented steps to confront this crisis head-on. In 2023 alone, the Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, helped more than 424,000 households exit or avoid homelessness, while the Department of Veterans Affairs, VA, surpassed its goal of rehousing over 38,000 veterans experiencing homelessness. HUD also invested nearly $500 million in first-of-its-kind funding to help communities address unsheltered and rural homelessness. In May, the United States Interagency Council on Homelessness, USICH, and the White House launched the All Inside initiative, working with key mayors to cut red tape and expedite the process of moving people off the streets and into homes. Thanks to the White House's Housing Supply Action Plan, 2023 saw the groundwork laid for the construction of more apartments than any other year on record. Additionally, the Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, approved more waivers, allowing states to use Medicaid to provide housing and support for those experiencing homelessness. All topics and stories are covered in full on our website. 2024 elections, critical turning point for U.S. farming and agriculture's economic future. Have you ever wondered just how much the food on your table impacts the nation's economy? Tonight, we delve into the expansive influence of the U.S. agriculture sector, which stretches far beyond the farm fields to touch numerous industries across the country. In 2023, agriculture, food, and related industries contributed a whopping $1,530 trillion to the U.S. gross domestic product, GDP, representing 5.6% of the nation's total GDP. This sector also provided jobs for 10.4% of the U.S. workforce, showcasing its essential role in our economy. On average, Americans dedicate 12.8% of their household budgets to food, highlighting its significance in our daily lives. The farms themselves generated $203.5 billion, or about 0.7% of the U.S. GDP. But the true impact of agriculture is even larger when considering the added value from related sectors that rely on agricultural inputs. These include food and beverage manufacturing, food stores, restaurants, textiles, apparel, leather products, forestry, and fishing. Moreover, federal government spending on farm and food programs sees nutrition assistance far outpacing other areas, emphasizing the critical need to support food security and nutrition across the nation. As we look ahead to the 2024 elections, policies and decisions made by future leaders will significantly impact the agriculture sector. From subsidies and trade agreements to environmental regulations and labor laws, the choices made at the ballot box will shape the future of farming in America. Farmers and industry stakeholders are watching closely, knowing that the outcomes could affect everything from crop production to market stability. Scarlett Johansson reveals unexpected reaction. During Saturday Night Live episode, the actress revealed that she blacked out as soon as she saw her own photo during her husband Colin Jost's annual Joke Swap segment on SNL last month. Johansson, who often finds herself the subject of Jost's jokes during this segment, shared this candid moment on The Kelly Clarkson Show on Thursday. "That's like a tame version if you guys have ever seen the jokes," Johansson said, describing her usual role as the butt of at least one joke each year. She admitted, "As soon as they showed my picture, I actually don't remember that segment. I fully blacked out." In other exciting news, today, July 12th, marks the release of Johansson's latest movie, Fly Me to the Moon. This film is set to compete with Longlegs, starring Micah Monroe, which is also releasing today. It's a big day for cinema fans, with two highly anticipated movies hitting theaters. Additionally, today is a special day for another beloved star, Michelle Rodriguez. We want to wish her a very happy birthday. Michelle, your incredible talent and inspiring roles continue to captivate us all. May your day be filled with joy, love, and wonderful celebrations. Thank you for tuning in to ECN EuroConnect News. Stay informed, stay engaged, and remember, we deliver, you decide. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for the latest updates and in-depth coverage on the stories that matter most to you. Have a great day.